I'm here beside the River Tay. It's Scotland's longest river. It's flowing quite quietly today, though a couple of weeks ago it was roaring down, and where I'm standing now the water would have been well over my head. It's only 200 or 300 yards from where I live, and I come down here most days, and I often think that the power and the energy in this wonderful river is like the power and energy waiting to be released when Scotland becomes independent, and I'm absolutely certain that it will. If you know me and you know what I write in my blogs, you'll know that I always do my best to make the positive case for independence, and there is, I believe, an overwhelmingly positive case to be made. Independence, after all, is normal, it's natural, it's democratically healthy. Ask any of the 60 countries that have left the UK in the last 100 years, and I'm quite sure that Scotland could become one of the great success stories. We have the natural resources in abundance. We have the human resources, the people, the skills, the expertise, the creativity, the drive. We have the world-famous products, the brilliant academic research, the winning international businesses, spectacular landscape and culture. And we have all the infrastructure we need to support these things and allow us to run our own affairs. In short, we have what we need to become the progressive, prosperous, small, outward-looking, inclusive, tolerant, socially just European nation that we could be, and who, after all, would not want their country to be the best it possibly could. That's the positive way of framing the case for independence. There is a less positive way of framing it, and right now I'm afraid that's every bit as important as the positive one. We have to look at this. We've seen over the last 2 or 3 years how Scotland has tried its best to engage constructively with the Brexit process and been at best dismissed or ignored, at worst jeered at, told to go home, shouted at, treated with contempt in the House of Commons. We've seen the shambles that Brexit is starting to become. We've seen the damage that's starting to be done to our iconic industries such as seafood and fishing, not to mention the hundreds of small businesses that are now tied up with expensive red tape and face going bust. And we won't really know the full extent of the damage that Brexit's doing until at the very least the, let's say, unfortunately convenient fog of the pandemic has cleared. We've seen the naked cronyism that has surfaced through the pandemic, with contracts worth billions of pounds for PPE and related services being dished out to Tories and their friends, with virtually no accountability, and in some cases, astonishingly, nothing whatever to show for the money that's been spent. We've seen the mounting costs of the Test and Trace project, now forecast to cost an astounding £37 billion. And just to put that in context, that's £5 billion more than the entire block grant that Scotland received from Westminster for the year 2019-20. And just to be absolutely clear on that point, that 32 billion we received was about half of the over 60 billion that we sent south to Westminster in the first place. So it's just our own money coming back to us. We've seen Jenrick, Hancock, Patel, Johnson. We've seen them all prepared to break the law, break ministerial codes with impunity. No tabloid headlines for them, and certainly no 8 hours grilling by parliamentary committees. And we've seen the effects of the Internal Markets Act start to bite. This is this piece of legislation designed to level up the internal market within the UK following Brexit, that's being used as a kind of Trojan horse to get around Holyrood, and now there's large sums of money coming from Westminster branded with the Union Jack being dished out to local authorities in Scotland who just happen to be Tory controlled. The thing is, this government that we didn't elect, this party that we haven't voted for over half a century, is terrified of losing us. They'll do anything that they possibly can to stop us, by fair means or foul. And here's the really scary thing: if they succeed in stopping, they will punish us. This is a government that is nakedly hostile to Scotland, that hates devolution, and whose intention with Scotland is to enfeeble the Holyrood Parliament and eventually, if they possibly can, to dismantle it. We'll be relegated to second-class citizens living in a region of the UK, back to being North Britain as we were in the 19th century, and we will be a region of a UK that is a second-rate offshore tax haven, complete with sleazy free ports, 0 hours contracts and shady deals with repressive right-wing governments around the world. This is what's at stake on May the 6th, and whatever you think of Nicola Sturgeon, whatever you think of the SNP, like them or loathe them, they are our one shot at taking this next step towards independence. If we leave it to Boris Johnson, if we don't give them our vote in May, we will end up being second-class citizens in a country run by the most right-wing government in living memory. There is no credible opposition at Westminster, so the Tories are going to be here for a really long time to come. So if you believe in a Scotland that's full of hope and possibility and self-respect, that has the energy and the power of this fantastic body of water, the Tay, flowing past me here, then you must ignore the attack ads and the misinformation that's already starting to come our way and that will become a tidal wave of negativity over the next 2 months. So come the 6th of May, please, please think of the future, think of your future, think of your children's future, think of your grandchildren's future, and make it both votes SNP.